NFC Championship football is here. The winner goes to Minnesota to face the legendary Blake Bortles or some guy named Tom Brady. Hey guys, what's up? JOZ back again with another Vikings game preview. And of course, the Vikings vs. Eagles game preview is on. So let's talk about it, starting off with the injury report. So let's start off and talk about the home team, the Eagles, who, since all their star players are already listed on the injured reserve, on the injury report, they look like a pretty healthy squad. Listed are only 2 players, and both shouldn't be an issue whatsoever. Daniil Elabry, a backup linebacker, has a hamstring injury. He did not participate on Wednesday. He's not a really big key part of their defense anyways. He's a backup. He only has 8 tackles listed on a year, so it shouldn't be a big drop-off whatsoever. Another guy, Sidney Jones, a corner, he has a hamstring injury, but he had full participation, so he's pretty much just fine. He's just listed on here for the lulz. Let's go over to our Minnesota Vikings. So let's start off. The players that did not participate, there's some big ones. Starting off with one of the biggest players on the team. Remember the biggest player on the Vikings offense, Adam Thielen. Has a lower back injury, did not participate at all in practice. This could be pretty big, but it's Adam Thielen. Come on, he will play. His wife already said he will. It's Adam Thielen. He's a hometown boy. Minnesotans, they can get all types of stuff thrown at them, but they are tough. And when it's something like this, they will play. And I think he will come out and he will be at least in a rotational role come Sunday. Another guy on the list, pretty obvious, Shamar Stephen, the backup nose tackle for the Vikings, the knee ankle injury. I thought it was worse. I thought it could have been a torn ACL or something, but he did not participate. And a chance he could be in the rotation and the inside defensive interior for the Vikings come Sunday. So it's nice that to see he's not just done for the year as of right now. Next on the list, these are the players that had limited participation, and there's 2 as well. First, another guy pretty obvious, Andrew Sendejo, the target that Michael Thomas hit, which he gave all the Saints sideline a high five because they still do bound to get it, I guess. He has a concussion, but it's looking very good. Zimmer said he passed the first part of the concussion protocol, so I would expect Andrew Sendejo to play. Next, Mackenzie Alexander, their nickel corner, rib injury, I would expect him to play too. Anthony Harris, the backup safety, if Sendejo can't go, a full participation. Pat Elflein, shoulder injury, full participation as well. I think that just means they probably get taped up or something. So not a big deal there. So both teams should be pretty healthy, pretty much as 100% as they could be. Both teams, very big IR injuries. The Eagles, Carson Wentz, MVP candidate. Darren Sproles, one of the best long-time running backs for the Eagles, one of the best running backs in the league and very good in pass protection. He's hurt for the year. Peters, he's gone. They have all kinds of big injuries. The Vikings, Bradford, of course, I know he's back, but we don't know how rusty he is due to the injury and if he could even be better than Keenum at this point. We have the biggest one, Dalvin Cook, as why our running game is as okay as it could have been a lot better. But let's look at this and let's look at the Eagles offense, and it's led by Nick Foles. Since Carson Wentz led this offense and it was like, wow, this offense is so good, he gets hurt, Nick Foles comes in. Maybe the pieces around him aren't that good, and that gives some more money to Wentz for making him look that great. Nick Foles, you've seen him, he cannot throw it deep. Whenever you see guys get deep, he overthrows them. You see all types of bad throws, but he's very accurate on those short little easy passes. Last week he loved the read option pass. This is where you're in the shotgun most of the time, you fake a little run play, but he's staring down the corner. If the corner goes inside to stop the running back, he'll pull it back and throw it to the wide receiver. It's a pretty simple read, and it's a play that players run all the time at all different levels of football, so it's a really simple one for an NFL quarterback, and he does it very well. And it's still pretty hard to cover for defenses because it gives one defender 2 responsibilities. I think Rhodes will be up to the task, but we'll have to see. So let's start and look at each individual skill player on the Eagles. starting off, Alshon Jeffrey, lining up on Xavier Rhodes. Rhodes looked a little banged up at times, got his head running up by Michael Thomas, gave up a touchdown last week. But I think Michael Thomas is just the better player. He still held Thomas to 3 for 8 for a touchdown and like 40 yards. And I think Jeffrey's is slower, but otherwise pretty much the same player as Michael Thomas. I think Xavier Rhodes holds him under 30 yards. He's shut down. Aguilar, this very explosive wide receiver, lined up against the most explosive person on the Vikings. This is just like the Ted Ginn. If we have him on Wayne's, those are the matchups. Wayne's wins every day. Wayne's doesn't give up deep balls, and as long as we play discipline, Vikings football, we don't give up those pass interference penalties, we'll be good there as well. I think he's pretty much shut down. Now the running backs, Ajayi and Blunt. The Vikings have the second best run defense. We're playing against the #1 rush defense, so I don't think any team will be able to run very well. I think both those players pretty much shut down. Maybe total rushing yards 70 or so. They're both very talented. I think Ajayi is a little more explosive, while Blunt is very, very similar to Latavius Murray. Just the full power. They're big, tall backs, not a ton of breakaway speed. Murray has a little bit more. Ajayi, a little bit slippery version of Latavius Murray, has a little bit of that breakaway ability and can make a few guys miss, but not like crazy elusiveness like Darren Sproles. Now, the big X factor for the Eagles is their #1 receiver on the year is their tight end, Ertz. And he is so good. If they get any type of running game going at all, and they can get a play-action game going, and they can hit Zach Ertz when he gets lined up on a linebacker, say Ben Gedeon, it's going to be a long day for the Vikings. Even Kendricks and Barr, as they're some of the best coverage linebackers in the game, will have problems covering Zach Ertz, who is probably top 5 tight end in the game, one of the best ones, and very, very good, so it'll be tough to cover. If it's man coverage and passing situations on 3rd down, I would expect Harrison Smith to get on him. But with that matchup, he's neutralized. So on those 3rd downs and longs, we have a pretty good matchup. Otherwise, if they can get those second and short situations, if they get a nice chunk of yards on 1st down, that's where they start to take advantage of us. But always remember, Vikings have one of the best historical 3rd down defenses in the history of the game. We get those 3rd down and 5s or more, good night. So we get those, we good, and they just might not want to show up. So let's go on the other side of the ball. Let's look at the Vikings offense against their defense. Now, the Eagles defense, known for shutting down the run, the #1 rushing defense in the NFL, and they get pressure with their 4-man rush. They don't really need a blitz. When they do, it can be pretty effective, but it leaves wide open holes in the defense, which is a natural thing when you blitz in general. So we kind of want to make them do that. It's going to be a big day for offensive line, but they have pressure from all over. They have so many good pass rushers, and they have depth behind them. It's a lot like the Vikings. And they do a lot of like things they do. They have a defensive end that can play inside, like Brian Robinson on those 3rd and longs. So look out for a lot of that. It's going to be a big day for the Vikings' whole offensive line. I would expect a lot more tight ends coming and blocking. I think David Morgan will have a big key game, and even though I like our running backs in the receiving game, maybe a lot more Jerick McKinnon in the game to help pass pro and help protect Case Keenum, give Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, guys like those have time to get open and make plays against their defenders, which their secondary, it's okay. It's not very good. On the stat line, I believe they have the 17th ranked pass defense in the league, so that is right around average. But I think it's even worse talent-wise. It only looks pretty good or average due to a great pass rush. If we can neutralize their pass rush, we can pick apart their corners, and we can have a very big day receiving. But it'll come down, how can we protect against that great pass rush from the Eagles? So what I think will happen, Eagles will shut down inside runs. We won't be able to do that very well at all. Latavius Murray will probably have a very bad game on the stat sheet line. But outside runs, probably from the likes of Jerick McKinnon, could be open. I think speed-wise, we can get around the edge. Our athletic offensive line, I like our chances of being able to steal the edge and get maybe 5-6 yards of pop on those little outside runs right off the tackle, or maybe full-on sweeps. Let our very good and willing blocking wide receivers help get those corners and safeties blocked and see if McKinnon can break one going on those sweeps, because I really like those. That's how he got his touchdown on a jet sweep like action. I think that would work well too. And whenever you face a defense with a very good pass rush, screens will be huge. So if we can do that, our athletic offensive lineman can take advantage of that. That's what Zach Elflein is very good at doing, and our Reef is very good at getting out in front and getting those screens blocked up. So whether it's to Jerick McKinnon, Murray, or even Adam Thielen or Stephon Diggs with wide receiver screens, I think that should work out very well. Maybe a big day for Laquan Treadwell going in there and block for those guys, because they see a 3 or 4 wide receiver set. The last thing they're looking for is an outside run or a screen, but then we have a good blocking. Maybe we have Rudolph in the slot, and then there's Laquan Treadwell, lead block for Adam Thielen on a little bubble screen or screen, full-on screen, and he can bust it open for 20 yards. I really like those options as well, and should be a big day, and the Vikings are really good at that. We didn't do a whole lot against the Saints, maybe saving a few plays for this week. So another thing, slants and double moves could be huge. I think our receivers can win most of the one-on-one, especially Stephon Diggs. And he's the guy I labeled people should have a pretty big game. I don't think Thielen will though. Eagles have a very good slot corner, and since he's playing a little bit hurt, I don't think we'll be seeing Thielen going for over 80 yards, but he should still pick up those first downs. We saw that with Julio Jones. Even though they know that's the one guy Matt Ryan's going to be looking to, he still can pick up a lot of first downs for him, and I think that's what the Eagles will be treating Adam Thielen this week. So I think even though they give him a little more extra attention, he should still pick up a chunk here and there, give us those first downs we need him. That's what Adam Thielen does. He's very, very clutch. I know Diggs is known for that catch, but Adam Thielen had one of the catches leading up to it, and he got us into the red zone a few times with some great ones as well. Oh, and overall, let's talk about it. Overall, 2 great defenses, but the Vikings are just better. That's just it. And one thing I didn't really touch on, if the Vikings can get any running game at all, just like the Eagles, play action game, Kyle Rudolph. But without that, I don't think Kyle Rudolph will be a big factor, because he is still playing pretty hurt. So we'll have to see about that. So that's kind of a different factor as well. So overall, score prediction, give me your comments and give me your score prediction in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you're new. My score prediction, Eagles 6, Vikings 17. Yes, an 11-point game for the NFC Championship game. And a hot take, give me your thoughts on this in the comments down below as well. I think the Jaguars have what it takes to beat the Patriots. I think they're going to come out flying. They're going to get 4 or 5 sacks, and it will be the top 2 defenses going at it in Minnesota. So give me your thoughts on that in the comment section down below as well. Subscribe if you're new, of course, and have a great time. And we'll see you guys in the next JOZ Vikings video. See you then.